Before we get into the episode, I am thrilled to announce that the EntreMD Business School is open for enrollment. The EntreMD Business School is the only school of its kind for physicians who want to build 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses. Over the last 2 years, we have had hundreds of doctors go through the school with unbelievable results. Some of them run brands, some of them run private practices, some of them are coaches, some have other kinds of service-based businesses or product-based businesses. And we've had people come in and cross the 6-figure milestone, cross the 7-figure milestone, cross the multiple 7-figure milestone. You will be in a place where you'll get the coaching, the community, the accountability that you need to thrive as an entrepreneur, especially in the times that we're in. So maybe you've been following me for a while. Maybe you've been getting so much out of the EntreMD podcast and you've been wondering, how can I work with Dr. Una and the community more? Well, this is your chance. Come join us in the EntreMD Business School. It is application only. So go to entremd.com/business to turn in your application. I cannot tell you how many doctors have made statements like this. I recovered my investment in the first week. I recovered my investment in my bank account in the first 90 days. This is the best investment I've made in myself ever. I want you to have that kind of story, not just a story of building a great business that serves a lot and earns a lot, but having a business that gives you the freedom to live life on your terms. So don't wait any longer. entremd.com/business. And now for the episode. Hi, docs. Welcome to the EntreMD podcast, where it's all about helping amazing physicians just like you embrace entrepreneurship so you can have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on your terms. I'm your host, Dr. Una. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of the EntreMD podcast. I am super pumped to be bringing this to you. We are going to be talking about millionaire habits, but we're talking today about the curated inner circle. And this is going to be so good because you have heard the saying that your network is your net worth. But sometimes we've said it so much that we have really lost the true value, the meaning of that. So we just throw it around, but we're not actively engaging with it. But I am telling you, this is one of the things that will change your life the most. So we're going to dig into it and it's going to absolutely change your life. Now, before we go into it, I do want to take a moment and read a review from the EntreMD Method book. And this is by Dr. Penelope Pauly, and she leaves us those 5 wonderful stars that you know that I love. And she says, I got this book and I just couldn't put it down. I felt Dr. Una was talking to me and about me the whole time. She has encouraged me and inspired me to see myself as the best product and to believe in myself more. I got way more from this book that I could have envisioned, and I'm now so excited about the future, knowing there is indeed more ahead and to go for it. Cheers. Now, this warms my heart more than you can ever imagine. Dr. Penelope, I am totally rooting for you. I'm like, go for it. You got this. And your reaction is really what I want to see for physicians. We can do this. We can build wildly successful businesses. We can take back control. We can fall in love with medicine again. We can have financial freedom. We can. Okay. So if you haven't gotten your copy yet, I call it the $16 MBA. Go get your copy. If you've gotten a copy, you definitely want to give copies to the doctors in your life because we are done complaining. We are done waiting for someone else to come and save us. We are the Calvary, right? That's who we are. And one of the ways you can be the Calvary is by getting a copy, taking it to the doctors in your life and going like, here you go. Here you go. You have to read this. Okay. Dr. Penelope, thank you so much for that. I love it. And it really helps us get the word out. Okay. So let's talk about this curated inner circle. Now, when we're kids, a lot of times our relationships happen to us. So I'm in, first grade and, these other kids are in first grade. So we're friends in a way, right? Whereas we're not as selective. And sometimes we take that into adulthood. Oh, we worked together, or we went to med school together, or we grew up we were on the same street when we were growing up, and all of that stuff. But as you start deciding that I'm going to live an A-level life you want to start curating your relationships, right? Because your relationships will define you. There is nobody that can rise above their relationships. And when I say relationships, I mean your inner circle, right? Can't rise above it. And for me, I have had relationships with some of the most amazing people where one sentence from them was enough to create a mindset shift that maybe a year of coaching couldn't have done. It's strange the way relationships work, right? And so it's kind of like, don't fight it, just make it work for you. I remember talking with Myosha Boykin Anderson. She is an amazing, amazing entrepreneur in the tech space. Her business been on the Inc. 5000, multiple seven-figure businesses and all of that. And I remember her talking about starting Airbnb and how she loved it and all of that. And she was like, but yeah, there are a lot of HOA restrictions and all of that. And she was like, so I decided I don't want to deal with the restrictions. So I'm going to build a subdivision. I was like, what? And my mind is going like, how is it that you think there are too many HOA restrictions that are interfering with your Airbnb business, and because of that, you're going to build a subdivision? Like, how? How did you get from there to there? You know what I mean? And so it's like that kind of big thinking. And I'm like, man, that is so good. And then I start questioning like my small thinking. And it doesn't mean I'm comparing or anything like that. It's just inspiring. And there's some places where you're playing it really safe and really small. You're like, stop it. So your relationships is literally like the vent above your head. If they're cold, you'll be cold. If they're hot, you'll be hot. In fact, there is a proverb that says, walk with the wise and you'll be wise. The end. The end. So what is one of the strategies for becoming a very wise person? Hang out with wise people. The end. And so reading books is important. Your relationships are important. They'll both change you. So anyway, let's go into this. So if you're like, I want to build an A-level life, I want to build $1 million business, or, put in a number of zeros after that, could be 8 figures, 9 figures, whatever you want. What do you need to do with your relationships? What do you need to do with them? Okay. Now, as somebody who is trying to be a high flyer, is trying to build a wildly successful business, I really want you to think about yourself in this way. You are like somebody who's walking in a crowd and you have a white dress on. Or for the gentleman, you have a white shirt and white pants on. And because it's white, and there's some people who are muddy and stuff like that, you're careful, right? You're careful because it's easy for your white to not be white anymore. Now, for the person who's wearing black, they can sit anywhere, they can do anything, and they'll be fine. But you have white on, so you have to be careful, right? So you are intentional about who you hang out with. You're intentional about who you let into your space because you have white on, right? Okay. So when it comes to building, curating an inner circle that will take you to your next level, there are two things you're going to do. You're going to actively add some people and you're going to actively subtract some people, right? And so I just pulled up a list. I was like, let me not be theoretical about this. Who are the kind of people I actively seek out and add to my circle? And for me, it's people who are goal-oriented, right? People who are goal-oriented, they have somewhere they're going. They have something they're chasing. They have a big goal they're trying to accomplish. I love people like that, right? Because that's what I'm trying to do. And it is so inspiring to watch them do what they do. Even their challenges, I prefer challenges over problems. Even their challenges are inspiring because it normalizes the challenges that you're having. You know what I mean? And so people who are goal-oriented, that's one. People who have a positive outlook. I am really affected by negativity, like really affected by it. So I really protect my space and bring in people who are positive. Now, when I say positive and negative, I don't mean people who don't talk about, problems or challenges they're having. They're happy-go-lucky, singing kumbaya. That's not what I mean. But it's people who have this conviction that it will work out, right? So let me just give you an example. Someone may say, man, I set a goal this year that I was going to hit 1 million and it's June and I'm still at, 200,000 and all of that stuff. What am I missing? What could I do? What could I change? Should I adjust my goal? Right? That's not negative. That is a positive person talking about a challenge that they're having. Now, the same person or someone with the same situation can come in and say, that's why I should have set this goal in the first place. Why was I even thinking something like that would work for me? I did this. The customers, they suck. They just keep leaving bad reviews and they're not doing the work and all of that stuff. And then my coach, she said she would do this and she's not doing that. And so that is negative. I honestly cannot stand that. That is negative, right? And so it's the same scenario. It's just where are you coming from? How can I is very different from this is not working and everything sucks. You see the difference there? And so people who have a positive outlook love people with a positive outlook because we need that, right? The world is negative enough. Okay, so positive outlook, people who are people of integrity. The higher you go, the more valuable integrity is. And integrity really means you and your word are the same, right? And if somebody tells you, hey, I need this loan, I'll pay you back, and they never do, that's no integrity, right? If somebody says, oh, let's meet at this time, and they're not planning to, and they don't, that's no integrity. But I cannot tell you, like I have a friend who is she's building a 9-figure business. And I know, because I've watched her business, I know that the number one thing working for her is integrity. People know that they can trust her. People know that she'll do what she said. That's the number one thing working for her, right? So integrity, being consistent, being the same, being consistent with your values, maintaining your word, keeping your promises. Now, that doesn't mean there are times like, oh, I made an appointment at 5 and something happened. That means I don't have integrity. No, that's not what it means. It does mean that you say, hey, something happened and I'm not going to be there, right? And all that. But it doesn't mean that. But it does mean you take your word seriously. You stand by your word. It means people can predict what you'll do, right? So integrity. The fourth is people who are givers. Now, of course, the preface is if you're wanting that, you have to be a giver, right? But people who are givers, and what I mean by that is people who are generous with their advice, people who are generous with access to their stories, right? Because there's so much value in being able to hear somebody's story, the good, the bad, the ugly. The principles from it are priceless. They really are. And so access to their story or relationships or whether people who are givers, right? Because those kind of relationships work by give and take. And so if the person you're in a relationship with is a taker, you can only take that for so long, right? And then it's not mutually beneficial. And then the fifth thing is people who are playing an infinity game. Let me look for how to describe this. I have no idea where my life is going. And you'd be like, what? That makes no sense. Let me explain what I mean by that. What I mean by that is at every point in time, I am chasing the biggest possibility for me. But I know that 5 years from now, I'll be in a spot that I could not have imagined. So yes, I have goals, but the goals don't have an end, right? My goal is to explore my potential. Like, who can I be? And I want to explore all of it. Now, not in a bent out of shape, unbalanced kind of way, but what is the best I can be as a wife, as a parent, as an entrepreneur, as a philanthropist, like all of those things, I explore them. And so it is such a beautiful place to be in. It is such an exciting ride. So it's not just about hitting a revenue goal, like, oh, I want to make 1 million. Or like after that, then what? I want to explore. So I'll set the goal for 1 million, but my real goal is I just want to explore. I want to explore what's possible. Who could I become? What could I do? And that is the best kind of life because it's literally an adventure. It's so good, right? It's so good. But anyway, so I actively look for these kind of people, goal-oriented, positive outlook, have integrity, they're givers, and they're playing the infinity game. Okay. Now, if you're building your inner circle, you want to add people actively, but you also have to remove people actively. Okay. You have to remove people. So it's like you're trying to go to med school and your best friend is somebody who didn't want to finish high school, right? Like best friends, you guys are in the same room. It's hard because this person doesn't want to do anything. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with someone who didn't graduate high school. You guys just have different priorities, right? Even if that person wanted to go into entrepreneurship, you guys are chasing two completely different things in a way because, it's just different. You're looking for people who are goal oriented, right? People who are trying to go somewhere because they rub off on you. If they're negative people, and negative people, you know how much of a drain they are. And the problem with negativity, same thing with somebody covered in mud, your white outfit will not escape it. There will be mud left on your white outfit if you go hugging people who are covered in mud and you have a white outfit on. In the same way, don't think that you hang around with negative people and remain the same. So if you have someone who's a complainer, blamer, whiner, all of that stuff, it doesn't mean you never talk to them again, but you create distance. You used to talk to them every day. Talk to them once every 2 weeks now, right? Create distance because they rub off. And then you have to go back and start working on your mindset and your positivity and all of that stuff. They can introduce self-doubt. They can do all kinds of things. And so why would you do that to yourself on a regular basis? Okay. So if you're going to be a high flyer, if you are like, yeah, I want to build $1 million business, I want to do all of that, you need to actively add people to your circle. Okay. Goal-oriented, positive outlook, integrity, givers. Like imagine having a relationship with the taker. It's all about, it's not give and take. It's take. It is so draining, right? So draining. Subtract them from your circle. Actively subtract. Okay. And people who are playing the infinity game, because that is the fun. That is the fun aspect of life. It's so much fun. All right. All right. So here's the secret, because you might be going like, oh, but where will I find these people? Everybody's tuned into a radio station called WIIFM. What's in it for me? Everybody's tuned in there. Everybody, the ultra successful, everybody. And so when you want to get access to people, you lead with service. You lead with service. What can I do for you? How can I help you? How can I support you? That attitude opens doors for you like you will not imagine. Okay. So what's in it for me? Everybody's tuned in there. So that means when you connect with that, you get the person's attention. What's in it for me? Okay. So if there's somebody you want to build a relationship with, and let me say the person has a podcast, and you're like, hey, I listened to this episode. This is what it did for me, blah, 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 blah. It's amazing. They said something that changed your life. Tell them, right? They're doing an event or something. Help them promote it. All those kind of things. But be a giver, be a giver. Be a giver, be a supporter, be a helper. And that opens doors for you. This is something I've used that's really opened doors for me. And not from I'm just doing this as a strategy to kind of get into your circle kind of thing. But this is really you genuinely wanting to help people and support people. Everybody needs that at every level. They could be running a $10 billion business. It doesn't matter. They still need that. In fact, the higher people go, the less true relationships they have. They have a lot of people around them who are there for what they will get from them. And so when you apply this WIIFM principle, you stand out because you're different. You want to serve. And they're like, wait, when was the last time? Like, this is like a breath of fresh air. This is like cold water on a hot afternoon. Like, I have not had this in forever, right? You stand out. So few people are doing it, right? And that's the law of relationships anyway. Service, it just triggers the law of reciprocity. It does. It's the best way to do that. So what do I want you to do? I want you to take a moment. Okay. So if you're driving, you're going to have to do this when you park. I want you to just write the 15 people closest to you. Don't overthink it. Just do it. 15, boom, 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 closest to you. Then ask yourself, who is missing? If I truly want to build $1 million business, I want to be a millionaire, all of that, who's missing? Right? And then write the type of person, right? You may not have names, but the type of person who's missing. And then who needs to be removed? Now, remember, when I say removed, I don't mean never talk to them again, except it's someone you should never talk to again. But it just means increasing that proximity, not like increasing the distance between you and them, right? So who needs to be removed? You have to actively remove them because they will change your life for good or for bad. They will. Okay. So who's missing? Build relationships with them. Who should I remove? Remove. Actively subtract. Okay. But listen to me. I can trace thousands for one relationship, actually over $100,000 to one relationship. Now, I didn't build the relationship to make $100,000. I'm just trying to tell you how relationships can change your life, right? And so you are setting yourself up where you put yourself in this curated inner circle where you can build new habits and you can dream bigger and you can go through your challenges easier and the lids are taken off and you have hundreds of thousands of dollars come into your life because of the relationships you built. Okay. That's what can happen to you. So I want you to take this, run with it. It seems simple, but the problem with simple things is it's easy to do. It's easy not to do. Do it. And I don't know, 6 months from now, you can be sending me a PM like, Dr. Una, you will not believe what happened. And I'll say, of course I will. Tell me. Okay. So anyway, that's what I have for you. Take this, run with it, do it, and share this episode with another doctor in your life. Tell them you have to listen to this and you need to do this, right? Because this right here is something that you want to gain mastery of, and it will change your lives for decades to come. All right. Well, that's what I got. So I'll see you on the next episode of the EntreMD podcast. Hey, if you love listening to the EntreMD podcast, I want to invite you to join EntreMD On Demand. It is my signature subscription program that gives you access to a library of business courses designed to help you do one thing as a physician entrepreneur, and that is to thrive. Just head out to entremd.com/on demand, and I'd love to have you join us. See you on the inside.